What is going on, all you human beings who are worthy of love? We're back at it again. Did you miss me? I missed you. Happy to have you back. This week, we are talking about slipping through the cracks. We're talking about Latinx education. And particularly this study, this graph shows a lot what we're talking about here today. When you're looking at these different ethnic groups, as this class is looking to acknowledge, educate, and honor different ethnicities who have helped make our country what we are today as well too, and helping comprise our world. We're looking here, if you start with 100 students on average from a 2012 study, if it's Latinos, Latinas, it's going to approximately 63 out of 63 of those 63 females would graduate from high school, 60 of the males would graduate high school with a diploma. Then there'd be 13 females out of that original 100, with 11 males graduating with a bachelor's, 4 females with a graduate degree out of 100, with 3 graduate degree for Latinx on average for a 2012 study. And doctoral, just 0.3% of one person. So 1 out of every 300 people for a male, 1 out of every 300 for a female, give or take as well too. So for this as well, then you have different ethnicities, like for instance, the European American for white students. See how these numbers are significantly higher for high school diploma, 92 and 91, with female being the first number I'm going to say, and bachelor's 32, 33, graduate degrees 12 and 13, doctoral 1 and 2. Asian Americans, going through the different ethnic groups, through the different numbers here by average numbers. Out of 100 students there, 84 to 88 would receive a high school diploma, 48 female, 52 males receiving a bachelor's degree of Asian Americans, going to 18 and 24 graduate degrees, and 2 and 5 doctoral degrees. And then African Americans, you start with 100. You see the numbers goes down as well too, 85 and 82 for high school diploma, 21 and 17 for bachelor's, 8 and 6 for graduate, 0.6, 0.7 for doctorate. And for Native Americans, they start with 100, goes to 83 out of 80, then 16 and 12 for bachelor's, 6 and 4 for graduate degrees, and 0.5 for 0.6 for doctorate. So if you look at some of these numbers here, you'll see that it's substantially lower for the doctoral degrees, particularly for African Americans, Native Americans, with Latinx population, and the lowest by population numbers would be the Latinx population as well too. This is important as well too, is looking at numbers, as Latinx peoples comprise a large amount of our country in terms of the overall numbers in terms of who comprises this country. Looking at this US education pipeline as well by Latino, Latina, Latinx subgroups and genders. I'm sure that Latinx and tilde X is used for gender inclusivity and also for the recognition to indigenous roots. So you're looking at Chicanos, Chicanas, people coming from Mexico. That starts with 100 and goes down the different numbers, as you can see right here. You can always pause and look at those numbers as well too, of where they go. Looking at that same with Puerto Ricans, going from those numbers of where those numbers end up. Cubans, those numbers as we go through here by average. Dominicans, and then finally for Central Americans, you can see those numbers going down here. So there's some other interesting ones as well too in terms of different ethnicities and people enrolled in schools. A really interesting one as well too is the amount of people who decide to return to school later on, and how this number is significantly lower for different ethnic populations. This graph is important as well too, is a percentage of students aged 25 and older attaining a bachelor's degree. So for this European American, for white populations, this is much higher, but for others, people who are 25 years old trying to get this higher education, so what we call a quote non-traditional student, obviously we're all lifelong learners here, so everybody should have the access to that. But you see, it's much lower statistically for different ethnicities, for different things. So just as we talk about like the value of an education as well too, definitely encourage you to read as much as you can out of this article, looking at all the graphs and charts in the beginning, the beginning and the end. Has some good recommendations at the end as well too, that I would highly recommend checking out. One of these graphs, this is one that was taken from 2020 from Northeastern University. They were using data from the Department of, the US Bureau of Labor Statistics, BLS here. And as they were doing so, it looks at just the median earnings and also the unemployment rate. So the median, so the middle number there, so not the average, but just the middle. So half the numbers at the top of it, half the numbers below it. Looking at that average number as well too. But for the median, right? So for less than a high school diploma, that median number is around 30,000. High school diplomas around 38. Some college but no degrees around 43,000. Associates 46,000. Bachelor 64,000. Master's degrees approximately 78,000. Professional degree approximately 96. And then doctoral degree almost 98,000. So the idea is for one of your first years after your education as well too. So those numbers can potentially go up later on as well. But definitely just in education can be a huge tool for empowerment as well too. So it's very important as we look to restructure our values just as all human beings, and just saying what is the value of an education as well too, and how can we help students that are not getting the help they need in terms of percentage wise when we're looking at Latinx students not getting necessarily sometimes the help that they need in different schools, which can lead to lower educational attainment rates as well too. So those are some of the different things I want you to check out. I also want you to check out these videos right here as well too. So do check out these. There's about 18 give or take right here. So watch these. There's a link to our YouTube playlist that will be there in a second. So let me know what you think. 3 to 7 sentences. Be sure to read at least 3 other people's reviews. You can also leave a 30-second to 1-minute video if you so choose. And that being said, people, you are amazing. I hope you keep taking care of yourself physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. If you want to, invitation, not an obligation, sitting up nice and tall, breathing like you love yourself, breathe in some love. Exhale some love. If we want to bring peace to the world, we first must bring peace to ourselves. It's gonna go, guys. It's gonna go. Are you with peace? I am with peace in Oneida. I just want to say, Yawanko Ganalunkwa Nugiwa. Thank you. I love you. Until next time in Oneida. Thanks, everybody. See you next week.